sometimes we complain we don't have time. We're always running. But sometimes we need to really stop and reflect and look at our life and look at our trajectory, look at where we are going, and really see the reason behind what we are doing. So
Mm,
I think this lockdown actually did a lot of things to people. Of course, a lot of people complained they were tired of staying at home. They couldn't do anything anymore. But for
mm,
some other persons, it was a moment of rebirth for them. Because
mm,
I did a lot of interview covering this story, interviewing different people to understand how are you feeling in this period. Because it had never really happened to us for since all my life, of course, it had never happened that the entire global economy was locked down. We have to be inside
mm.
the house. So tell me, how did you encounter yourself again in this period? Share a little more light on that.
Sure. So, I think it was all timely. I'm a firm believer in him upstairs, the universe, whoever it is that your higher being is. I no, they conspire, and it's amazing. It's always for our good, even if we don't like it, even if it's like really tough to get through. But I do believe that there is a the greater good is on its way. So literally a couple of weeks before we were fully shut down, I attended a conference in London. It was a famous American motivational speaker. He was over in the UK. And I was listening to the radio, and one of my friends who I've known since I was a teenager, he was the DJ. He was talking. And he was talking about a gig that he got for being the DJ for Eric Thomas. So Eric Thomas was coming over for a 1% conference, and he was talking about being the DJ. So he was like lit. He was so excited about getting this role because he was very inspired by Eric Thomas. Eric Thomas's voice is everywhere in terms of the motivational speaking world. He gives stats actually that he's the number one. I don't know if it is challenged by anyone, but he certainly has content for years out there. So he's a very, very inspirational man. And so my friend was talking about this on the radio, and I was like, maybe I should go to this thing. So I asked a few of my friends, and I was like, okay, do you fancy coming? Everybody was a bit like, no, no, no. And I felt really disheartened about it. I'm a complete introvert by nature, so I kind of wanted somebody to go with. But the universe said to me, you know what, Nadine, go anyway. Just go. So I picked up I bought my ticket. I went. Didn't talk to anyone. I pretty much went, sat down, absorbed all of this powerful information from Eric Thomas and all of the other speakers that were there at the time. Pretty much only said hi to the person that was sitting next to me, and I went to go and see my friend who was doing the DJing. But apart from that, I didn't really talk to anyone because I'm not really like that. I'm not really social like that. I can't walk up to people and just say, hi, how are you? Like, it's just not in my nature. But it was powerful to me, like this, all of this just flow of positivity and encouragement and motivation was phenomenal. So what it prompted me to do is get some coaching. I was introduced to a DISC assessment, which is a self-assessment tool. And I got some coaching, thought it was absolutely phenomenal. Felt like actually this guy was being psychic towards me. So I was looking at him a bit side-eye, like, how do you know this? And basically the self-assessment was a bit like, it's basically, the research says that we are all different, right? But we're predictably different. So when he was saying to me things like, oh, you can hold a grudge, huh, Nadine? And I was looking at him like, how the hell do you know that? He was like, yeah, you can be quite sarcastic. And I'm like, well, you don't feel like you have to defend yourself. Like, but what happened was, no, joking. But so it was really powerful to me. And actually, even just going through that process, I was like, oh, I want to do what you're doing with me right now. I want to help people understand themselves. And it wasn't that he was telling me anything I didn't know. It was more that it was putting words to it, articulating it, and making it be okay. So in certain situations, I I'm very much focused. Like even this morning when I was preparing for coming on with to come in to talk to you, I was kind of thinking, all right, so what do I want to make sure that I say? Kind of just giving myself some bullet points in terms of a bit of my story and things like that. And my partner was trying to talk to me, and I, I ignored him.
Why?
I ignored him because he was trying to make jokes, and I was like, no, I'm focused right now. Don't talk to me. And it's not that I'm trying to be rude. It's just because when I'm in that mode, I need to concentrate on a mode. It's not about relationships. It's not about jokes. It's not about, trying to be social. At that point, I'm focused. I'm zoned in. So that's when my sarcasm may come out, or I might just ignore you. I'm just like, or I might just be quite dismissive. And I think he struggles with that because he's completely the opposite of me in terms of being quite social. But he knows me now. So I'm just a bit like, babe, I'm focused. And he'd be like, all right, cool. Sorry. But even just that now, I just know that that's just who I am as an individual. And I can say, if I'm zoned in on something, I'm not likely to, that's just my focus. And I'm not likely to, that I can't then be something else. If I'm zoned in, I'm zoned in. And being okay with that. So he may have gotten his feelings a little bit, but he knows that that's just me. So it probably was just a flittering feeling for him. So that's what this tool did for me. Like certain things that I do, what I don't do, how I find it quite difficult to just go up to a stranger and say, hi, how are you? How's life? I would just never do that. And that's okay, because I'm an introvert and I own it and I'm proud and I'm authentic in myself. My partner, on the other hand, he's completely the opposite. He will go up and talk to anybody, but they say opposites attract, right? So certainly during the pandemic, let me come back because I'm slightly digressing. So once we was then locked down, I had this amazing information about myself. I trained to become a coach. So I trained in the DISC assessment. So I'm now a practitioner of behavior and communication styles. I was coaching people internationally, so a lot of people in the States, some people in Canada, and a few people in the UK. So I was just kind of honing my craft. I then did a process called Life Book, which I was designing my life. I was doing that alongside it. And then I just then was like, okay, well, this is what my life now looks like. I just need to now implement. So I got really focused on my health, as I said earlier. And then was just every day doing something intentional. I was waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I was working out. I was working on some sort of personal development or business related stuff. Then I was doing my day job. Then I was kind of chilling out because I'm very much a morning person. So after 5 o'clock, you probably wouldn't get me doing very much because I'm a bit like I'm there. But first thing in the morning, I'm fire. Like I go out, I go and be at one with nature, meditate, come back, and my brain, all the downloads from him upstairs is just coming to me. And I'm like, yeah, fire, I can do all of this now. So it's a good thing I'm working in the UK now, because they're probably getting so much more out of me that I am actually up at the times when I'm absolutely alive. If I was a night owl, I'd probably be struggling, but it's worked so phenomenally to me. So yeah, the opportunity to be at home, to be able to focus, to concentrate on honing my craft in terms of the coaching, during the lockdowns was amazing to me. I went out, got fresh air, did all of that. But naturally, as a person who is an introvert, that was going to be comfortable to me anyway. I can imagine those that are more extroverted were probably pulling their hair out because they wanted to be out and around other people. But as somebody who is quite homely, is within herself a lot of the time anyway, it was perfect. So I just used the opportunity to really develop myself and practice and master my skills so I can help other people to know themselves better also.
That's interesting. That's powerful. I believe that is a lot of things that we can actually gain by trying to know ourselves more, because I think the power really is within, you know. It's not only without, but it's also within. We need to go inside. I think a couple of years back, not really long time ago, in the development of this podcast, it was initially called Business and Self-Improvement Podcast. We did a lot on self-improvement. There, I was really talking a lot about that. Of course, then I was doing only solo podcasts. I wasn't inviting people to come in. I learn a lot talking about these things. It's actually one of the things that also make me to do that podcast, that do that interview, a series of interviews from Canada, UK, US, Nigeria, a different part of the world, of course, concentrating on the African diaspora. I try to understand how is it for you this moment, no? So I think it's really important that we don't always complain that we are alone, because that lone moment is for you to rediscover yourself, who you really are, your power. Because you can't find your power in the crowd. You can't discover yourself just drinking around or jumping around. I think there is a reason why certain people in our history, whether you're looking at Jesus, Buddha, Muhammad, they needed some moment for themselves to pray, to commune, to whoever you believe in. But that moment is for you alone and your creator to rediscover yourself. And I sort of find it very interesting when you were explaining also all this moment that you shared alone, no? Because it helped me to understand also what you are doing. Because before you can do for others, you first need to do for yourself.
100%.
If you enjoy this podcast, make sure you subscribe so you never miss any of our future episodes. Rate and review Obehi Podcast and share with your friends who might need it. I remain Obehi Ewafo. Thank you so much for listening, and talk to you in the next episode.